Well, I've been here about 2 months, and everyone has been wonderful. I was with a smaller brokerage before, and I kind of had, I thought I would get lost in the numbers with a bigger brokerage, and actually I haven't. I feel like everyone knows who I am. They know my name. Everyone's so helpful. I don't feel like it's competitive at all.
Yeah. Hi everybody, welcome back to another Workout Wednesday. Thank you for joining us for the first week of April. We have a very special guest this week. Back in our Ponte Vedra office, we have Jessica Shearer.
Hi guys.
Hey, nice to have you on. You just got off of vacation, right? You came back, was it spring break or anything?
I went gambling with a friend for a couple of days.
Hey, that is perfect, like in Tampa?
I actually went to Hollywood, Florida.
Awesome.
And actually hit the jackpot.
Hey, sweet.
I know. I was
awesome. Where I'm from in Biloxi, we have a ton of casinos.
Oh, yeah.
In South Mississippi, it's a large industry for us. We probably have like 11 or 12 casinos down
I've heard
there.
that. The friend that I went with, she loves it, so she's all over the place.
Sweet.
And this is the first time I ever went with her, so it was a really fun experience.
Very nice, very nice. So to kind of just introduce us, I want to hear a little more about you. I know that you are a teacher. You taught for 20 plus years?
Actually, 14 years, special education in St. Johns County.
Very nice.
I was actually born and raised in St. Johns County, so I went to St. Johns County schools. I went to Ponte Vedra, Palm Valley before there was a Rawlings, Lander Middle, and graduated from Nice in 1999. So I'm actually a local to the area.
And you graduated from UNF?
Yes, UNF. I graduated in 2009. When I left high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I thought I wanted to be a nurse.
Yeah.
And then I realized I hated blood in nursing school. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll be a teacher.
Yeah.
Really loved being a teacher, the student aspect, working with kids.
Yes.
But it just became a little bit too much with just everything kind of going on. So, and I feel like I'm a better mom now that I'm not a teacher. My patience, I think, was wasted on other people's children.
Understandable.
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit, too, about how, so you were in real estate for a little bit before coming to Berkshire Hathaway.
Right.
What was the process like of switching over to our brokerage?
Well, I've been here about 2 months, and everyone has been wonderful. I was with a smaller brokerage before, and I kind of had... I thought I would get lost in the numbers with a bigger brokerage, and actually I haven't. I feel like everyone knows who I am. They know my name. Everyone's so helpful. I don't feel like it's competitive at all.
Yeah.
Everyone's willing to help. Like if I come into the office and I'm like, I can't get this to work, or I don't know, and they're like, well, this is what I do. And then someone else will be like, well, this is what I do. And, there's just so much technology out there that I really feel like it's limitless of what I can do, what's available to me at my fingertips.
That's one thing I've definitely noticed. I've been here almost 2 years. Will be June. I've been 2 years here, and it's very collaborative. That's the one thing that I've always noticed, is that we are just very willing to jump in and help each other, and that's such a great culture to have, especially in a larger brokerage too.
Right. And I think with like my last brokerage, like open houses were expected. Like they expected you to do open houses for them, and here it's like, thank you for holding an open house. Or you're like, they seem grateful that you are holding an open house for them instead of just being expected. And so it's just kind of, the culture is just totally different.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Today's topic is about business planning and goal setting, more so about revisiting a business plan and checking in on goals. Do you typically set a business plan and goal set at the beginning of the year?
I do.
Okay.
So I did set a business plan at the beginning of the year, actually before I moved over. Okay. I've had to kind of adjust that plan because just changing brokerages is kind of a gap in just time of learning new things, and I'm not out prospecting as much as I was during that transition period. And also just kind of changed my mindset with, okay, now this is just focusing like on my sphere and generating my sphere, and so I've had to kind of adjust my goals a little bit. But definitely making that clear plan. And I also make that plan very public to like my Facebook community, like with how many transactions or what I want my volume to be. So I feel like when I post about it, I'm letting them know, but I'm also keeping myself accountable to reach those goals. Absolutely. And I think that's what it has to be, is if I set them, then I know that other people are watching me, and I want to make sure that I'm reaching them.
Yes.
Same with my personal goals as well. I feel like that balance of that work-life balance, and that's something I did not do as a teacher. I feel like now I really block time for me to go to the gym 5 or 6 days a week. And I would schedule it like I would like a client meeting. Every morning I'm at the gym at this time. And if for some reason I can't make it, I try to make it up later in the day or do something else outside.
It's like a non-negotiable.
It's kind of like a non-negotiable for me. So, goals, not only professional goals, but personal goals are very important.
Absolutely. So like I said, you were a teacher before you came into real estate, and obviously there's a ton of planning with being a teacher. We always say whenever we have new agents come on that our teachers, or even like nurses, there's certain professions that translate very well into becoming a real estate agent because some things carry over very well. Right. Have you seen anything along those lines of planning that you did as a teacher translate over to real estate?
Yeah, I would say definitely time management is very important, like the time blocking. As a teacher, you only had a certain amount of time to kind of get something done.
Get your planning period.
So, exactly. So it's kind of like time blocking has helped because I find myself, working for yourself, if you don't have things scheduled out during the day, you can get easily distracted with something else that might seem, to take your time. So definitely time blocking of, what I need to do during these hours of the day. The next thing would probably be breaking down like those complex topics. When you talk to kids, it's kind of hard to explain something, so kind of breaking it down into smaller chunks. And I find that working with buyers and sellers, like they don't understand our terminology. So kind of explaining to them in small steps, like what's next and what's to kind of come to kind of prepare them.
I like that
instead of giving it to them in a one big thing and overwhelm them. You're kind of like, okay, now that we're under contract, this is what's going to happen next. You have the inspection, and then we're going to have the appraisal, and then we're going to have the final walkthrough. So just kind of breaking it down for them, so it's not so overwhelming for them. So that's kind of transitioned. Probably the next is adaptability, honestly. Every day is different in real estate. Every transaction is different. So being able to kind of like fly by the seat of your pants, you kind of hear that expression a lot, is very important. You have to know that things come up that you would not expect to come up, and you just have to kind of go with it. Same thing with teaching. You'd have a day where like, I have this great day planned, and then they're like, you have a thing in the auditorium at 9:00, and you're like, that's not what I had planned. So just kind of being adaptable as well. So I'd say those 3 things.
I like breaking down things into those smaller chunks, especially because it builds your credibility as well. It makes the buyer or the seller reinforces that you know what you're talking about throughout that whole process. I love that a lot. So the first quarter, by the time this video has come out, the first quarter will have just ended. I want to get a gauge on how are you doing on your goals that you set for yourself.
So originally, like I said, I had set goals to have so many transactions a year, and then I broke that into smaller goals, of course, to have so many transactions a month. So I feel like my first quarter, even with the transition, I feel like I'm doing pretty well. I'd say I only probably missed it by 1, but I have lots of things in the pipeline for the summertime, so I'm really excited to kind of see what the second and third quarter kind of bring forth toward me.
How are you handling if you don't meet your goals? How are you handling that kind of not more so setback? Just how are you keeping yourself accountable so that you can keep on pace?
Right. Well, first I want to kind of look to see kind of like why I didn't meet the goal. Like what strategies I was using that wasn't working. Was I putting a lot of effort into a certain thing like mailers or different things that maybe wasn't working for people, or was I not taking my people to lunch enough and really working my sphere? So really just kind of looking back of what I was doing that didn't work first, and then kind of adjusting and kind of going from there. I really try not to take it, really beat myself up about it too much, because I feel like when I do make goals, I do kind of set the bar really high with my goals. So as long as I get close, and I know that I can adapt or adjust for the next year is what's important.
And so you're talking a lot about breaking these goals up into bite-sized pieces. How are you making sure that those continue to align to your long-term vision of your business?
Right. So if I have like a set volume I want to do per year, or a set number of transactions per year, then I kind of break it up by month. By month 1 I need to have this, by month 2, and by 3. And if I don't have it, I try to make it up the following month, whatever it is. But it also helps me, hold me accountable for those goals. So if I don't make my goal for that particular month, then I'm like, okay, now I got to work extra hard to make up for it and still make the goal for next month and make up for the last month. Yeah. So it really is kind of, it really does hold me accountable. I actually have a board in my office, my home office, of what my goals are. So when I go in there, I see it all the time of what it is. And like I said, it just keeps me motivated to keep going.
What about, so like your personal goals too, you talked a little bit about that work-life balance. Say you're doing really well in your professional goals, but you're lacking in your personal. Do you try and balance those out or sacrifice anything so you can get them back even?
I try to keep them even, honestly, throughout the whole year. Like I said, the whole gym is kind of my motivation, 6 to 7 workouts per week. And that, like I said, those are the non-negotiables. So they really kind of go hand in hand. I try not to fall on one or the other. I really try to keep them balanced. Another personal goal this year was to read the Bible from beginning to end. I've never done that. So that's another thing that I'm just trying to keep up. And if I get a day or two behind, I'm like, I got to catch back up with that. So like I said, I think self-care is very important. That's one thing I did not do while I was teaching. So that's just one thing that I really try to focus on to kind of balance the work life.
Definitely. I might need to start incorporating my non-negotiables because I read a devotional every morning and I get a scripture that I study as well, and I've been falling behind on it. Especially during Lent too. I need to pick it back up.
Don't get me wrong, I am probably a little bit further than 2 days behind now, probably a week behind, but I do try to catch up on that. But I really try to keep, I feel like if they're balanced, I feel like I'm just functioning better as a person, honestly. I feel like if anything is off, then the whole thing is off. You know, if I'm off on my personal goals, then I'm off on my professional goals as well.
Absolutely.
So I feel like it's good to kind of keep them both aligned.
That outer order, inner calm kind of thing. So the final question I want to ask is if there's any advice for newer agents or people that are wanting to start goal setting, what piece of advice would you give them on helping to stay on track?
Right. So definitely writing them down.
Yeah.
I think is very, very important. Like I said, I write them down. I have them actually in my binder that I see every day where I write my notes of what I need to do that day. They're actually in that binder. So I see them every day when I open up that binder. Again, I have them written down on almost like a vision board at home, I would call it, in my office. So it's kind of a bigger board that I kind of see. And then again, I post them to my Facebook. So I feel like even if people aren't commenting, people are still seeing what I'm doing. Because I'll see them be like, all right, Jessica, you're almost at your goal. Keep going, you know. So I feel like that letting other people know what my goals are holds me accountable. But you have to look at what your production was or what it was last year and try to increase it a little bit each year. Even if it's not by much, you know, just try to tweak it a little bit to kind of keep going up and up and up.
I just want to thank you again for coming on and giving the time to do this video. It was really nice to hear that you are very orderly with a lot of your goals. It's very good to hear that you're on track at least, or trying to stay on track with a lot of your goals. It's very nice. That will be it for our week's video of Workout Wednesday. Be sure to tune in next week for our next special guest. I will put all of Jessica's social media, her website on screen and down below so you guys can go check her out further. But other than that, we will see you next week. Take care.